A few more points around change management, people communication. I would add here is obviously, you need to assemble that cross-functional, strong project team. And I would go even further. It's cross-functional and cross-country. So you do involve people from the different countries, and that also really helps with the integration. I like this expression, but don't cling the past. Don't. Because the problem is that your current situation, you know how you work, and the transformation is bringing something different, something new. The idea is that you don't hold on to the past where you work. Be open yourself, open mindset to look at that new solution, new process, new ways of work. So that's very important, and it's a good principle, I would say.
Hello, my name is Heath Gascoigne, and I am the host of the Business Transformation Podcast. And this is the show for business transformators who are part business strategists, part business designers, part collaborators, and part negotiators. Business transformators have moved past just business design and includes oversight and implementation of those business designs and business transformations, and include stakeholder management, coordination, and negotiation. If you work in strategy development and implementation, and work to ensure that that strategy is aligned to the business design as well as technology, then you're probably a business transformator. This is the show where we speak to industry experts and professionals to share their stories, strategies, and insights to help you turn around, start, and grow your business transformation. Welcome to the Business Transformation Podcast. And in this episode, we are talking to one of those industry experts. We are speaking to Severine Trinh-Foot. I hope I've pronounced that right, Severine. Transformation and M&A Integration Director, who has led many ERP finance strategy and implementations, post M&A integrations across IT, sales, finance, and HR, turnarounds driven by cost reduction, performance, and growth. Severine is a former Big Four partner with KPMG in France, UK, US, and Brazil, is known for delivering complex projects for global companies and high-growth startups. Severine is focused on the human side of transformations, ensuring that people are involved, how they understand the change, and so the change actually happens. Severine's career spans over 20 years, is probably close to 30, is currently associate at the Global PMI Partners, and held many positions as business advisor, group transformation director, program director, integration director, global program manager, stakeholder and compliance management lead, partner at the following companies as just a snapshot: Thames Water, Neptune Energy, Auto Live, Hallmark Cards, Sharp Electronics, Sage, Shell, and KPMG, to name just a few. Whoa. Severine, thank you for your time. That is an impressive CV. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for giving that summary.
Well, yeah, sometimes I've read the summary to some guests, and they go, wow, I didn't realize I'd done that much. And they go, yeah, you have. Well done. The time passes. The next thing you know, we've got this massive, impressive list. Okay, because you have such a long and vast, expansive career, we will, as is tradition on the show, we will keep it to 3 points, so that's one that we can stay on track and that the audience can follow along. So given that you have an extensive M&A, and M&A has its challenges, so let's talk about first how do you motivate and integrate companies? That's the first point. Second point is the CSS, the critical success factors, the 3 to 4, maybe more, of factors that you look for to be successful in the transformations that need to be there. And number 3, what is your approach? Let's say if you're the 30-day, the setup and startup, how do you get these transformations up and motivated and get momentum?
Perfect.
Okay. First one, how do you motivate?
Right. Yes. So that's a big question. I've had this recurring question from various sectors, big and not that big companies, usually international. They have, so you mentioned a few there where we were actually doing this integration work. You know, the typical head office who has the vision, and then you have and they want to implement a lot of things. And then you have the different subsidiaries in different parts of the world. So you have the culture as well, which is also a player. And they also have their project. They also want to do things. So what is the priority?
Yes.
And people get lost because they they are kind of pushed by head office to have to integrate, but they have their day-to-day, they have their operations. And we know today how difficult, the current situation is in terms of supply chain, energy, cost increasing. So all those operational companies need to deal with that. So, okay, let's, the very openly, we need to listen. I always start with having one-to-one conversations, half an hour with the key stakeholders of those countries, understand what make them tick, what are their issues. And all of that, you gather a lot of facts, and from all functions, IT, HR, sales, operations, supply chain, you do need, and obviously, CEO, CFO, you do the C-suite as well, so that you have points of view from the top, as well as people working in the
operations.
And what does it mean integrate? What does it mean working together for them? What they don't want to lose, and they really want to know what's in it for them.
What's in it for them? That's a common theme that's come up there.
Exactly. At the end of the day, we are all human.
I think. And sorry to interrupt you there, Severine. So for the listeners there, this is a common theme. I sort of said for disclosure, Severine and I have not met before. Severine just happens to be in the UK also, and in London. So not that there's a bias towards the UK or London. But Severine has a vast experience that includes many continents, so US, Europe, and Asia, and South America, and has just said, and for the WFIM, so the what's in it for me. So the WIFM. So what's in it for me? So that's an interesting thing, because we're talking about from a people's perspective, right? That why is that important? Because people are tuned to that channel, of their own channel. What is in it for them? So in case the audience missed that Severine has said it almost straight away, is that what's in it for me?
Yeah. At the end of the day, whatever we want to do, we have to take into consideration that this change is not technology, it's not process, it's people. As long as they don't understand what is the change going to bring them, what is this integration going to bring to them, then there is not much point. It may happen, but it won't actually not gel, really not integrate or transform, whatever it is. So it's really, really important, to make sure that we have all those points, those issues, we build a plan of that transformation, including all those points. And we make sure we involve those people we've been talking to.
So the stakeholders.
Exactly. In one way or another, as key players being trained, as testing. Somehow, everybody from close or far has a role, small or large. And that's how you start building this team. And as soon as you start having this kind of objective, common mindset, then here you are, you've won it. You are starting building a consensus, and they can see where we are going, and that's really, really important. Okay,
so you said lots of great points there. So at the start, you said one thing about culture, and when you're talking about global companies, and I think the subtlety there, in case the audience missed it, that the culture may change in different parts of the country, and so I think that what you were talking earlier about having those initial conversations is understanding that culture and how it differs differently and across the globe. And I think that when you're talking about head office or headquarters, they have a vision or aspiration, and the next part is how does that translate from the head office guys upstairs and headquarters translates to those different, as you said, subsidiaries. What does that actually mean for them? And then your approach was to have those one-on-one conversations with up and down the organization so I'm just playing back for the audience's perspective. So the C-suite all the way down to operations. And so with that key point being what's in it for me.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay.
Yes. And it goes very well to our second point, which is all around, what are the key success factors? Yes, because basically what we need is a very strong sponsor. At the end of the day, people need a leadership.
Yep.
Exactly. Someone strong, whoever it is, who has a clear vision, because again, we are humans and we follow.
Yes.
So we like having someone who knows where the company is going.
Yep.
Has a clear vision, has some clear objective principles. It's terrible when there isn't such a sponsor.
Yeah.
Nothing happens.
Oh yes, nothing. Absolutely. I harp on it a bit about the 4 causes of transformation program failure. It's lack of business user involvement. Number 2 is lack of leadership, senior leadership. 3, change requirements, and 4 is incomplete requirements. And so the when I talk about these points, is that none of them are do with technology nor process. It's all to do with people. And then you said it right there, leadership. That strong leadership is like that can't be undervalued, under-recognized. That without strong leadership, you'll go nowhere.
Exactly. So it needs to be, exactly, someone at a CX level, I would say, just to make sure that whatever that person is going to bring and given in terms of vision, it's going to be respected. At the end of the day, we are still quite hierarchical.
Yes.
And in a company, you do listen and you do follow a CEO, CFO,
hierarchy,
CIO for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It can be even 2 people. I quite like having projects where I have a CFO and a CIO, for example, as sponsors. That works pretty well, having someone from the function, the business, and someone from the IT side. So because there is always an IT aspect in any transformation. So,
that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So two sponsors, a function.
Very, very strong sponsorship, communication, which is also back to one of your 4 points, communication, top down, bottom up. So top down, it's the usual town hall newsletters, making sure this is regular, and you communicate what goes well and also what doesn't, the delays and why. People want to be treated as adults.
Yes.
And they want to know exactly what's happening. It's much better, actually.
So it's best to communicate something than nothing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Regular communication.
Okay. So
back to these team spirits. And obviously you communicate the good news, the success, and you celebrate those success. So that's great.
Yep.
And bottom, surveys, very good, white paper fairs. Anything where you get some feedback from
operations,
users, from people who are working on those changes. And that is really, really important. And any point on a survey, any feedback point needs to be addressed.
Yes, not just, what is it, like empty promises.
Yes.
People will feel like their voices aren't getting heard. So what's the point of participating?
Absolutely. Yes, because what this does is that the people in the company can see that the project is actually delivering, saying what they are going to do.
Yes.
They are going
very important. Yeah.
Yeah, and answering all the points, and that builds credibility.
Yes.
So this is really, really important.
And so just to cut you off there. So the point there for listeners is really with these changes, and we're talking integration and global companies, and the part there about credibility. What's credibility is about relationships, about building trust. So trust. These, like you said, an important thing there about they communicate the the things that are going well, more the process. Client that I recently helped, when I'd started, the project had already been going for a year, and said, okay, so what have we got a business change person on here, communications? Oh, no, we don't have one. I said, oh, you told me you did when you brought me in here, but it seems you don't. And they think that someone else, like the program manager or program office, can do the activity. I was going, whether you can or not is one thing, but I think what you got to do is actually do this communication. And they say, well, we don't have anything to communicate right now. And I said, I tell you what, if you don't communicate, and this project has been running for 12 months already, and you haven't communicated, I'm going to tell you what's happening in the business now. They've seen a whole lot of consultants rock up and no one's talking to them. So you probably just put the fear of God in them. And if
Absolutely.
not,
That's
if
very
not,
true.
yeah.
This is worse actually because it's gossip.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yes.
people are completely focused on that rather than working. So that's really, really bad.
Yeah. That's
Agreed.
the loose lips sink ships. So it's best to address those issues. And I said to them when I started, I said, okay, here's the process we're going to follow, and we're just going to share the process. That's why we haven't done anything yet. I said, oh, that's fine. We've got to show them the journey. We've got to take these people on a journey.
So a few more points around change management, people communication. I would add here is obviously, you need to assemble that cross-functional, strong project team.
It's a cross-functional team.
Without saying, but and I would go even further. It's cross-functional and cross-country. So you do involve people from the different countries, and that also really helps with the integration. I like this expression, but don't cling the past. Don't. Because the problem is that your current situation, you know how you work, and the transformation is bringing something different, something new.
Yes.
But the idea is that you don't hold on to the past where you work. Be open yourself, open mindset to look at that new solution, new process, new ways of working.
New ways of working, as well as say,
So that's very important, and it's a good principle, I would say.
So don't hold on to the past.
Yes, don't hold on to the past.
Okay, I'm going to quote you on that one.
Yeah. I would say also, do create a change management plan, comms plan, training plan. How is that going to be addressed right from the beginning? It's not just training in a new system. It's actually, we've just been talking about ways of working, process, and so on.
How their life is changing.
Yes. And usually, if it is not there already, and it's not that often there, think about end-to-end process. So it goes, I bring this kind of concept of process owner, same as the data side. You need to have data owners, but you have process owners.
So the business and technical sides almost mirror each other. So
exactly.
Yeah. So for our colleagues, our listeners there's usually two parts to a program, business and technology. There is a lot of focus on technology generally because they can quantify the costs. And so when they present their argument, there's a dollar figure associated with it. And because it's a dollar figure, mostly it's a large one, that they can dictate what goes on because they seem to be spent where the money is spent. But they also have a well-defined process and structure of how they present their argument. So that's on the technical side, data side. And so on the business, what you're saying is they should also have in the same as a data owner, they have a process owner, the same roles apply for the different domains.
Absolutely. And that goes right into the business. And that actually links to the fifth critical success factors, which is all around the process and IT. And I quite like putting them together because they are so intertwined, so linked. So you do need to leverage your best practice. Everything that really works well.
Yeah.
Why throwing it out of the window? No, it's good. It works. Let's keep it. Obviously, if we can. That's a good point.
Yep. Okay. I like that point. So when you talk about the end-to-end experience, end-to-end process, is that when I do something similar when coming on with clients and we say, what's the user journey? What's the user experience like? And I said, what do you mean by that? And I said, well, what's the touch points? How do they interact with the company? What's the good points? Because we don't want to throw the good things away, right? We don't want to throw the baby away with the bathwater. And what's the bad points? The pain points we want to improve. And then what's in scope, improving opportunities to address those pain points. And they'll go, that's interesting you say that. And I said, yeah. I said, why is that? Because one client I joined, they knew they're going to replace the IT system. So the first thing they did on the project is they did an RFP. And they went straight to market for requirements or for a supplier. And then they sent out an email to all the users and said, tell us what's wrong with the system. And I said, you just got to be careful of that, because you've just asked what the pain points are. You didn't ask what's the good points, because you will literally, to your point there, you will throw the baby away with the bathwater. You will throw away the good stuff, and you want to like leverage the good practices, keep the good stuff.
Yes.
So for our
And it
audience
needs to be
here,
done by process. Exactly.
yeah.
Yes.
And and I like what you're saying there, process.
Mm.
Yeah, I a lot of my arguments I have with my colleagues on these programs is they start talking there over these conceptual things like services or capabilities, and we need more people to do this new capability. And I said, so where are these people actually sitting? What do they do in this? And so what they do is they're executing some process. So tell me the process, and they don't want to talk about processes. They say, well, actually, if you're making a change, you're making a change in a process.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so to the audience, don't overlook the processes.
I always come back to my roots from KPMG with brown paper, designing the process with the end users from across the functions. So imagine a procurement to pay process. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So you would have people from procurement, from sales, from finance together,
Yep.
and we map all the process and we look at the pain points and the best practice, so that people, they can see how they work.
And the dependencies.
Usually, wow, we've never done that before. And you start having discussions. And if you have that good base, that good as is, as we say, current situation, then you can use it really to create your new solution. So that's absolutely important.
What I find with clients is when you go in and you talk to them and say, we need to understand the as is, the current state. And what I find is those that either have been through these projects before, that then they hear this term current state and processes, and they think, oh my goodness, this is process, this activity is never going to end. It will go on and on and on, mapping the current operating model. And so, well, there's two ways of doing it. There's deep dive and there's light touch. And given where we are in the general consensus, let's just get a general consensus. We don't have the time nor capacity to very detailed process mapping.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in half a day or a day, you do achieve a lot if you have the right people around the table. So it doesn't need to take so much time.
Yep. I like what you say with the brown paper, is that you write it literally, right? It's visually, Yeah.
So other good points, on the IT side is, well, we won't go into too much of this subject, but do embrace the cloud. The cloud technology is a fantastic one.
Embrace.
Less and less clients actually are thinking, no, we won't go cloud. I heard that a lot 10 years ago. Now it's really, really becoming more into the norm. It does bring a lot of sense and good thing that the company doesn't need to take care of.
So for comparison, the other option, right, is on premises, where there is no ability to. I have this with a current client right now, is that there's no ability to access the systems unless you're inside the building, and so the challenge of that is access to getting those on site. And I think the challenge of people when they say want to go cloud, they go, oh, how safe is it? Our stuff is in the cloud, and if it gets attacked and the sensitive information. So there is I think there's the time of the laggards, right? That people were slow to adopt, and now it's pretty much we've got mass market and everyone is that's to the cloud. But the cloud on its own or by itself is not immune to it's not the what's the word, panacea solution. That's go cloud, maybe cloud first, cloud based, but there is also issues and concerns that you need to be aware of, like access as well as security issues.
Absolutely. We did touch a little bit on it. Another very important point is that any programs is the data cleaning. For whatever you need to do, have your data in good order. And we are back to having people owning those data in the operation, so that it's well defined and it stays clean. How many programs are actually delayed because this cleaning phase takes so long?
Yes.
So that is, I just wanted to touch on the data side, because it's really important.
Yep. I think, well, when I go with clients and we talk about, if we knew, they'll say, we want a new way of working. And I said, so what does that mean actually? You've only got 4 levers: people, process, technology, and data. And so if you want to change a new way of working, we're going to change one or all of them. And then, so what usually people, when they talk about technology, they forget about, well, technology is interesting, but what it does is just move data around the building. And if your technology is good, it can move it, and from unstructured to structured and at the speed of light and all these different things. But there needs to be a process to it and some governance around it.
So you're back to your 4 points.
Yes.
At KPMG, we were saying that people, technology, IT, and control. Because it was an audit firm, we were talking about control, and data is really the important one as well. Along that line, we have been mentioning testing, test before you want to go live, as we usually say. Those functions, those operations, they need to be sure they are comfortable 100% with that new,
new solution. Yes.
New process, new ways of working.
Yep. So test. Yep.
And that takes time. That takes time, but it's really, really important, and it goes along with training everybody.
I think you. Yep. Karen, go. Sorry.
I would say on the training side that the training shouldn't stop when the project is finished. It should really carry on, on a continuous basis.
Yep.
People need to have someone or a chat box or something that they can rely on to go and ask questions and so on, so that they don't go back into their old ways of working.
Ta-da. Yep.
Ta-da.
Yeah, because it's people and habits, right? So
absolutely. Yes, so we're back to the people side.
Yeah. So you had an interesting point there about the test, right? That depending on where the project is, if it's close to maybe the critical path or drop dead dates, and then maybe the technology have built their solution and they've done some system and integration testing, but in terms of user testing, not so much. And then it's like, well, let's just roll it out. And they go, now what I've found is that the business is less wanting to, maybe because of technology is breathing down their throat just to implement some system, that there's less wanting to test it, or either it's on an MVP or pilot on a small population or a small process, so they can, one, get used to it and see if that solution is fit for purpose before doing the full build. But I think there's a little bit of, and they talk about the agile mindset, right? And whether, and I think then that even that name agile is a bit misused, that being used to trying something new and being used to it not working and failing, and lessons learned, to go, okay, what did we learn from that experience? So I think when you're saying test, it says yes, test, and be prepared that you might not get the result. But I think that you did say there that you must allow the time.
Yes, because it's going to, test may fail, and you need to understand what's happening and correct, and have that kind of cycle. So I would conclude that list of CSF we've been discussing with 2 points. One, which is around the budget. You do need to have a budget for that program and a business case.
Yep.
And the business case is not just to get the budget, but it's also, it needs to be tracked, not just until the end of the program, but afterwards, to make sure that whatever the change is bringing the benefits, not just the tangible ones, but all the ones we've been thinking of.
Yes,
that's super important. I usually see business case super sophisticated, and then it's kind of dropped. People don't follow it through.
Yeah.
And
okay. Yep.
Along the line of this, there is this decision making. We are in a project mode. It needs to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it has to have a certain momentum, certain pace, speed. Speed like a marathon.
Yep.
You can't just leave it to drag too long because people are fed up and nothing is happening. So you do need to think about a
pace.
A nice way to take the decisions.
Yep, that doesn't slow down the momentum.
Yes, and
Yep.
because that is usually an issue.
So
Companies
the
have
governance needs to be
issues.
structured in such a way to allow the business, the program to progress at a steady speed.
Absolutely. And that is a critical point. It's hard to get companies to actually take decisions. Either putting the responsibility on someone else, head office against versus the countries.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, that's why we have people like you and me to help them make those decisions.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, yep.
Pros and cons.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So I think we're getting to our last question.
Third point, yes.
Yeah. How do we set up? How do we start? That's always
Yes.
the $1 million question. You know,
Mhm.
what do you do for the first month? We've actually alluded a lot on all of those at this beginning. And
Mhm.
I would like to quote, I was listening to another podcast this morning about Eliud Kipchoge, you know, the runner under 2 hours, the kind of super athlete Eliud. He's fantastic, and he's saying he's not looking for success. He's trusting in the preparation, the planning. If he's done the training, if he's done the preparation, and then success just goes with it. And I thought that was amazing and very, very applicable to all of this. So why I'm saying this is because those first weeks all about planning, preparation, knowing where you are going, basically.
Yes.
And it doesn't need to take too long.
Mhm.
So first,
Who was the name of the marathon runner? Sorry,
Eliud Kipchoge.
Eliud
Eliud Kipchoge. He's the Kenyan runner.
Oh, okay. I will find it. Oh, excuse me, get the spelling of the name correct. Yep, carry on.
So yeah, first thing first, when I come in a client, I like that my role is announced properly, you know, by the sponsor.
Yep.
So that it's very clear what I'm there for. So that is really the first
announcement.
thing.
Yep, that'd be helpful so everyone knows who you are. It knows what your intention is. Yep.
One-to-one, we discussed that with all the key stakeholders that we've discussed.
Yep. So from the C-suite down to operations and across the business and the different functions.
Different countries, everything. Understand what has been done. I hate reinventing the wheel.
Very good point there. Yes. Yep.
Usually things have happened. So reading, looking at everything that has been already happening is very important, so that you don't waste time, basically.
Yes. And I think that goes a long way with the stakeholders as well, that they feel that work and effort they put into that previous activity has been used. Otherwise they feel, here's this guy, he's just like the last one, the same old thing.
Start all over again.
Yeah. And you lose, you said earlier, credibility.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, and I would say that then you start building an understanding of what is the scope, what are the objectives, principle, vision.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If they are already defined, great. If they are not, then they need to be defined.
Yes.
And that, you know, in that first kind of steering committee meeting you have with your sponsor, then that's what you need to feed back.
Yep, what you have and what you don't have, and then go fill in the gaps.
Yes, because the scope, the plan, the team is really 4 elements that you need to start with. You know, having a high-level plan, companies always need to know where they are going. 1 year, 2 year plan, a bit like a roadmap. That is really, really important. And then we start. Whatever is missing, then is going to be part of those work streams. And usually there is a current situation understanding, so a design phase, which we've discussed, and then we go into what is going to be that solution, the to be, and we're going to implementing it. So it's it's a lot also down to composing that team, and we discussed
that cross-functional
as well.
Yep, the cross-functional, cross-country team, building that team as well. When you're building that understanding, they're building the team, and that team consisted of cross-functional and cross-country.
Yes, and I would go even further on this one. You know, it's not just thinking, okay, if we need to be very square on this, if we need people part-time, full-time on that project, then how are they going to be replaced?
Yes, the backfill. Yes.
How are they
Yes.
going to be evaluated? Is that going to be part of their objective? Because we need to take this transformation, which is going to last 1 year, 2 years,
Yep.
as a fantastic opportunity for people to grow. So
Yes.
I think it's really important to take it like a part of their career and have some objectives against it, some
Yes,
incentives.
Some metrics that they can measure
Yeah.
their progress against.
Yeah. And I have had some clients actually putting some incentives because how hard work it's going to be. The close, the kind of one full-time team has been rewarded because they've been working nights, weekends, and things like that. So all of that needs to be addressed.
And you touched on that briefly before about celebrating success. So that all ties into.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it, I think, for the moment.
All right. So on that last point there, so the audience, if you missed that, so the last point for getting started is first there needs to be an announcement. So it's helpful for the communication so that we know what you're there for. You're not, I think when people see consultants turn up and there's no announcement, they go, uh-oh, my job's at risk. And then, if we just talked about people, you got to bring people on the journey. Communication is a big part of it. So first is the announcement. Then you have your one-on-ones from the C-suite down to operations. You're having them cross-functional, the different finance, IT, HR, etc. Understanding the key point there. So you're building, I think, a strong rapport that you are reusing and understanding what the work was done before. So you're picking it up and as you said your words, that you're not reinventing the wheel. So it goes a long way to that credibility. And so the loyal audience, if you've not picked it up already, there's a strong element here about people. So you got to look at people, and you even said it yourself, the doing process change or technology changes is a people change. And then you're building up your understanding and the points there of scope, objective, vision, principles, and the plan and the team. And if they're not there, so what was missing, then they fill in the gaps. And then take that to you take it to the steering committee, and part of that is your high level plan, your 1 to 2 year plan. And then they've probably at that point, if they've not got their work streams set up, then set up the work streams, start the work. And then you're with the teams being the cross-functional and cross-country. And that the key part there, and I think it's often missed, is that you are making sure when the people coming onto the project, they're coming on full-time, part-time, that they have the capacity to be there. If they're there part-time, their part-time 20 hours a week or 10 hours a week is 100% there. They're not worrying about or got the laptop out and they're trying to do the BAU at the same time, because you won't get anything from them. So for all the project leaders out there, we talked about one of the critical success factors being leaders, is that you've got to make sure that when you bring staff on the project, that their role is backfilled in the background so that they can be present on the program while they're there.
Fantastic summary. Well done.
Okay. Yeah, fantastic. All right. Okay, so we'll wrap it up there. Severine,
Yes.
thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your
pleasure.
insights. So what will happen now is that the editor will get his hands on it and we'll publish it. I'll let you know on LinkedIn when it's available, and then you can share it around if you like or do what you want with it. Okay.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
take
Thank
care.
you. Enjoy your day.
Bye-bye.
Okay, good evening. Okay, bye.